Okay, so this is going to be my Monster Hunter Wilds Title Update 1 tier list. Title Update 1 has been out for a little while, so I think it's now time that we can make a tier list to go over all of the changes and where all of the weapons stack up against each other. Just a quick point before we get started. This doesn't really matter. Play the weapon that you want to play at the end of the day. They're all super close. They can all do all of the content in the game. Every weapon can speedrun every single monster, and it's super viable. It's super fine. There's really no drawback to any weapon if you enjoy it enough. So this is mostly for entertainment. Enjoy it. If you're super on the fence about two weapons, it might be able to help you, but that's really it. Let's get into it. All right, so first up, we are going to be going over the sword and shield. This is probably the best beginner weapon. That's what a lot of people say, at least. It has a super high skill ceiling, but it also has a really low skill floor, so it's really easy to get into. But if you know how to use it, you can do whatever you want with it. You're able to deal with any monster ability with perfect guard, and it does a ton of damage. Honestly, it has some of the best speedrun kills currently, or speedrun times, I should say. It's super versatile. It's the jack of all trades. It can do anything in the game that you want it to do. And right now in Wilds, it is an S tier weapon. All right, so next up we have my second favorite weapon, hammer. And this weapon, it's the absolute KO king of the game, obviously. So you're pretty much never gonna find anyone that like doesn't want a hammer player in their group, like in squad play, co-op play. But it's not the best like weapon number wise. It doesn't do the most damage. It kind of lacks defensively, and I think for that I am gonna end up putting it in C tier. All right, so next up we have the switch axe. This is one of two transformation weapons. This is my personal favorite of the two transformation weapons. The moveset is just the moveset and the playstyle are just super like fucking cool and metal. You have a super huge axe that you get to swing around, and then it turns into a sword that can literally explode when you stab it into the monster. Damage is okay. It's not the best, but it does have a super convenient offset attack and also a parry. So for that, I am going to put it in B tier. All right, now we have the other transformation weapon in the game, and that is Charge Blade, and it is definitely the better of the two, even though it's not my favorite. This weapon has everything you could possibly want. It's got amazing damage. It's got perfect guard. It's got guard points. It's got two different distinct axe play styles that you can play. There's nothing that this weapon can't do. It can speed run. It can do challenge runs. It can do full any percent runs. It can do, casual, co-op team play, runs. It's literally the best for like basically everything. And I'm gonna be putting it in S tier. All right, now we have Gun Lance. This is another powerhouse. It's really good. This game. Again, it does a lot. It specializes in like doing like really short burst damage, and then it's a fucking wall. It literally can't die because of its shield. Yeah, it's pretty strong. It's not quite the level, I would say, damage wise, as Charge Blade or Sword and Shield, but it's definitely better than like Switch Axe, so I'm going to be putting it in A tier. All right, next we have Dual Blades. This one is just a super fun weapon. It's super fast. It's basically like you're doing crack while you also have, ADHD. You're just fucking flying all over the place. It has probably the best focus strike visually in the entire game. The only downside is it damage isn't too great, at least when comparing it to some of these other weapons like Charge Blade, Sword and Shield, Gun Lance. And then also it can have stamina problems. It heavily relies on its stamina bar for dodging, and that can you can end up being starved if you mismanage it. So I'm going to be putting it in C tier along with Hammer. All right, now Lance. This is probably my least favorite weapon in the game. It's not bad or anything. I just think it's a little bit boring when compared to everything else. Don't get me wrong, it's literally a wall. Like it's actually unkillable. Like, I know I said Gun Lance was unkillable, but Lance is even more unkillable than that. It just doesn't have it. The playstyle isn't super flashy. It doesn't have a ton of good damage. Like, it's pretty lacking in that front. So I am gonna put it in C tier again. along with dual blades and hammer, though I know that it has a really diehard fan base. So like I know that a lot of people would want it in A or S just because of that. But personally, in my opinion, I think it's on the similar level of kind of like a hammer. All right, so now we have longsword. I think this is historically the most popular weapon in the game. It's super cool looking. I mean, it's basically you're basically in Demon Slayer when you use this weapon. When it goes red and it's flying all around, it looks super cool. Visuals are top notch. There's a reason why it's so popular. And the skill ceiling is super super high. I mean, like you're unkillable if you're really good at this weapon, and then also you can like speed run everything. I mean, historically, it's one of the best weapons speed running wise. I do think it's not as good this game compared to some of the other games. So I am gonna put it in A tier. But I mean, it's a phenomenal weapon. All right, now we have hunting horn, and I mean, this is everybody's favorite weapon to get paired with in co-op. It obviously it's not gonna do a lot of damage, but like that's kind of the point of the weapon, so like that doesn't knock it down for me. It does do a ton of KO power, so similar to like hammer, but it also brings healing and it brings attack buffs and like defensive buffs and stuff like that. And then everybody loves having it on the team. So I'm gonna be putting in A. I think that alone, the popularity of having it on your team and just the love that other weapons have for it is alone to put it up into A. Just because it kind of needs to be judged on different categories because it's just a different weapon than anything else, right? All right, now heavy bowgun. Now this is probably one of my least played weapons. But even even so, I still don't think it's as good as like light bowgun, which I'll get to in a bit. But heavy bowgun, it's super slow. It does have a guard, which is cool. Like thematically, it's really cool. Like you can turn into a fucking machine gun and just fucking bop 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 the monster, and you can guard. It's super cool like that. But I just think that damage wise, it's kind of lacking. Again, like it's so slow. Like I honestly think you're slower than hammer. It just doesn't. I don't know. It's not my favorite weapon. It doesn't seem like it's putting up a lot of good times right now. There's really not a huge reason I'd want this weapon over something else in like a co-op environment. So I just think I'm gonna be putting it in C tier. All right, now we have a Greatsword, and this is kind of like it's kind of like the poster child, I would say, for the game. This is like the weapon that they design all of the monsters around. Basically, it pretty much revolves around hitting these like super slow charged attacks. Obviously, when you don't hit them, it can be super frustrating. But when you do hit them, oh my god, I don't think there's a better feeling in the game than hitting a fucking huge charged up greatsword hit. Honestly, it does have both an offset and a guard. It's actually the only weapon in the game that has both, which is pretty cool. So I'm gonna be putting in A tier for this game. All right, now we have Insect Glaive, and this is an interesting one. This one used to be all about aerial combat and stuff like that, but recently it's kind of lost that, and it's kind of more focused about just running around, getting your Kinsect to do what it does, and then just kind of just playing like any other weapon combo bait. You know, just getting your combos in. You're not really flying around like you used to. Even though you do a little bit, it just not as much as you did. Other than that, it does have a pretty high skill ceiling, I think. I think the combos, they're not hard, but you have to manage your Kinsect and stuff like that. It's an okay weapon. It does have a pretty easy offset to hit, but other than that, I think I'm just gonna put it in B. I don't think it's as bad as these down here in C, but I can't put it in A, so I just think it goes in B. All right, light bowgun. Now, this weapon is interesting because it has basically the highest, I think it's got the fastest kill times in the game, like from a speedrunning level, but I don't think it deserves to be in the same category as Sword and Shield and Charge Blade, just because it doesn't really do anything else. Like that's kind of all it does. You know, like I don't really know if you'd want it on a co-op team. It's super reliant on like your positioning. So like if you're not used to like spacing the monster really well, it's going to be super annoying. It doesn't really have the bailout mechanics that like a weapon like bow has for that. So I think I'm gonna put it in A. And I don't think it's going to be on the same level as S. And that is going to leave us with bow. And man, bow is probably the most cracked that it's ever been. I mean, it has, I don't even know. You could go on and on about all of the different things it has. It has multiple different distinct play styles you can play. It's got a fucking dragon piercer as a fucking special attack. Like, that's insane. It has a perfect evade, which literally refills your entire stamina, which you use a lot on this weapon. It's got basically no downsides, and I'm going to be putting it in S. This is my opinion, like I said earlier. You know, you take it with a grain of salt, honestly. I know people are going to disagree with it and disagree with certain parts. People that want their weapon ranked high for some reason. I get it, but it's just, this is how it is realistically. And all of these tiers are so close. Like, it literally doesn't matter. Like I said earlier, you can play any of these weapons on any monster or any content. It doesn't matter at all. But this is, in my opinion, the best weapons tier list. And that's pretty much it. If you like the video, you can like, comment, and subscribe. And then you can also comment down below what else you'd like to see me do on this channel. Later.